In the opening scene, we are shown the desolate state of New England after a catastrophic zombie outbreak has wiped out almost all of humanity, except for a few survivors. Among these survivors are two close companions, Ben and Mickey. Mickey is a fastidious guy who values cleanliness and strives for perfection, but he lacks bravery and courage. How is Mickey still alive? In contrast, Ben is a rugged survivor who is unbothered by his lack of hygiene and possesses bravery and courage in abundance. The two friends embark on a journey through the winding roads of Connecticut with no particular destination in mind. Their primary objective is to avoid detection by the flesh-eating zombies that roam the landscape and survive by scavenging for necessary supplies. They also regularly break into houses to look for food, tech equipment, or anything else that can help them in the long run. As to the chaos and turmoil that surrounds them, two close friends, who share a mutual love for baseball, engage in the sport purely for their personal enjoyment. Their shared history, however, reveals that they were once trapped in a house in Massachusetts with Mickey's family for a staggering 3 months. Tragically, Mickey's father, mother, and brother were all killed before they were able to devise a plan to escape. In the aftermath of this traumatic event, Ben opposes sleeping indoors, which often results in many heated arguments between the two friends. Despite this, Mickey wants to live a normal life, so he resists learning basic survival skills. He constantly isolates himself by listening to his CD player with headphones, draining the batteries. During one of their scavenging missions, the duo stumbles upon a car with a female zombie trapped inside. Ben makes the daring decision to open the car door, allowing the zombie to exit before promptly shooting her in the head. Remarkably, the car remains in working condition, which fills the two friends with a sense of optimism. Buoyed by this small victory, they set off once again on their unpredictable journey, unsure of what lies ahead. As the day wears on, the pair finally arrive at the abandoned home of Mickey's girlfriend, which they proceed to search thoroughly. In a stroke of luck, they manage to uncover two functioning walkie-talkies. While experimenting with the devices, they unexpectedly stumble upon a conversation between two survivors named Annie and Frank. Overcome with excitement, they realize that there is still life out there, beyond their isolated existence. Annie and Frank appear to belong to an organized group of survivors called the Orchard, and Mickey, who has not heard the sound of another human voice for months, immediately reaches out to them with an earnest request to join. However, his hopes are dashed when the group flatly refuses his request. They even warn him to never contact them again before hanging up the call. Frustrated and angry, Mickey lashes out at Ben, expressing his deep reluctance to embrace a so-called hunter-gatherer way of life and his fear of dying every day. After this, the two continue their journey and come across a nearby house. As Mickey unlocks the door, a couple of zombies walk out, but he hesitates to confront them. Fed up, Ben steps forward with a baseball bat and urges his friend to fight back against the very creatures that killed his family. However, Mickey remains adamant on his decision. He explains that these zombies were also once humans, so they don't deserve to die for a second time. But, in reality, he's just scared to confront the zombies. Hearing his lame excuses, Ben gives up and the two continue on their journey, facing the uncertain future ahead of them. Next day, they wake up and set off in their travels once again. At one point, Mickey decides to sleep inside the car, while Ben decides to take a shower at a nearby waterfall. While Mickey is resting, a seductive zombie attempts to break through the car window. Mickey initially panics and tries to contact his friend for help, but he eventually finds the zombie attractive and starts to engage in self-pleasure, and people say zombie movies never do anything new. Suddenly, Ben appears from behind and shoots the zombie in the head, splattering everything on the car. He then notices Mickey's behavior and finds it amusing, causing the latter to feel embarrassed. As they continue their journey, they come across a house in the forest, and Mickey suggests that they spend the night inside because he wants to sleep in a bed like a real human. Ben agrees, perhaps to alleviate Mickey's frustration, but he takes away his CD player for the night. That evening, Ben enjoys some drinks, music, and dancing, while Mickey tries to connect with Annie on the walkie-talkie. To his surprise, she responds, but not in the way he wanted. Annie sternly tells him to stay off their channel and stop contacting her group, as the orchard is not the type of place he is seeking. Early in the morning, Ben becomes alert to a strange sound coming from outside the house. As he goes to investigate, he comes across a zombie that has been tied up near the house. Ben comes up with an idea and releases the zombie into the room where Mickey is sleeping. He then shuts the door and urges his friend to kill it with the baseball bat he left in the room earlier. Despite Mickey's initial fear and screams to open the door, Ben does not give in and instead continues to encourage his friend, assuring him that he can do it. A few moments later, the sound of the struggle stops, and Ben opens the door to find Mickey covered in blood. It turns out he has finally managed to kill a zombie. Ben is proud of his friend's achievement, but Mickey does not feel the same way, and he instead attacks Ben in anger before storming out of the house. After a while, the two friends reconcile, but Mickey suddenly breaks down in tears. On inquiring about the reason, he reveals that Annie has forbidden him from contacting her. Killing his first zombie and getting turned down by a community seems to have changed Mickey. As the days pass, he begins to take Ben's advice seriously, learning to fish and spending less time with his headphones on. This change in behavior brings the two friends closer, and they start enjoying their time together more than ever before. One day, during the course of their journey, the two friends come across a stranded car and decide to investigate. Ben attempts to siphon some fuel from the car in order to replenish their own supply. However, they soon realize that the car is already out of fuel. While they're contemplating their next move, a man named Jerry suddenly appears and holds Mickey at knife point, threatening to kill him unless Ben hands over the keys to their car. Despite Ben's attempts to reason with Jerry, the man refuses to back down and demands the keys. In a moment of quick thinking, Ben tells Jerry that the keys are in the car, and so the man releases Mickey. However, when he proceeds to check, he realizes that he has been tricked. In a fit of rage, Jerry tries to flee, but Ben shoots him in the back and kills him. As the friends are recovering from the traumatic incident, a car pulls up and two survivors approach them. One of them is a woman who asks them about Jerry's whereabouts. Ben honestly tells her what happened, and after hearing this, she says that he did the right thing, because the man was actually a thief who had stolen their car. Following this, her companion refuels the abandoned car and prepares to leave, but just before that, Mickey recognizes Annie's voice from the walkie-talkie and calls her name. Turns out she is the woman inside the car. The boys are ecstatic with the discovery. However, the same cannot be said for Annie. Fearing that the orchard group will be found out and looted, she shoots Ben in the leg. Not only that, she also throws away their car keys into a nearby field so that they cannot pursue her. Now, the boys cannot go anywhere as all their supplies are inside the car. In this world, simping gets you killed. As night falls, Mickey and Ben continue to search for the keys, but can't locate them anywhere. Soon, the darkness deepens, so the two friends decide to sleep inside the car, hoping to resume the search in the morning. In the middle of they are suddenly awakened by the putrid smell of zombies that have surrounded their car. Without the keys to start their vehicle, the two friends are trapped inside and unable to flee. The situation worsens by morning as more and more zombies gather around them, preventing Mickey from venturing out to search for the keys. In the next scene, we see that Ben's injury has worsened, so he is now unable to even move properly. Because of this, they are forced to spend an indefinite amount of time inside the car. As the days drag on, the constant presence of the zombies takes its toll on both friends. The endless noise, smell, and sight of the undead weigh heavily on their spirits, making it harder to cope with their situation. Mickey, in particular, begins to feel increasingly irritated and restless. He's not even in the mood to fap. Driven to the brink by the constant presence of the zombies, he covers the car windows with blankets, hoping to block the outside world and the sight of the zombies. Day after day, they pass the time by playing games, singing songs, getting drunk, and sometimes simply sitting in silence. The relentless siege of the zombies, coupled with the lack of food and water, slowly drains their spirits and leaves them feeling hopeless. Despite their best efforts, it seems that they may never escape their grim fate. At one point, Ben encourages Mickey to go out and search for the car key. This time, Mickey does not hesitate, and he finally decides to get out via the sunroof. As he searches, Ben waits anxiously for his friend's return, hoping that he finds the key and returns quickly. After several hours, Mickey returns, but with a deep bite mark on his hand. Ben panics, knowing that the bite could lead to Mickey turning into a zombie and potentially infecting him as well. Hence, despite Mickey's pleas for mercy, Ben is forced to shoot his only friend and kill him. The heart-wrenching scream of anguish that Ben lets out after the fact is a testament to the immense pain and loss that he feels. With Mickey gone, Ben is left all alone in a desolate world overrun by zombies. The weight of the situation bears down on him as he grapples with the decision he had to make. It is clear that he had no other choice but to take Mickey's life, as the potential consequences of not doing so were too dire. The feeling of isolation and loneliness is overwhelming, and it seems that there is no end in sight for Ben as he continues to navigate a harsh and unforgiving post-apocalyptic world. After the tragic death of his friend Mickey, Ben is consumed with anger and thirst for revenge. He blames Annie for Mickey's demise and vows to take her down. To express his hatred and rage, Ben talks to the walkie-talkie and threatens to kill Annie. However, before he can act on his threat, he has to muster up the courage to leave the car that has become his only shelter. In this post-apocalyptic hellscape, Ben's recollections of his past, trapped for months in a house, only adds to his anxiety and his apprehension. However, he is determined to take action, even if it means risking his life. According to Ben, he will just put a bullet in his head if his escape plan does not work, but if it does, he will put one in Annie's head. With nothing to lose, Ben takes the plunge and escapes the car. Although he's surrounded by a horde of zombies that shamble behind him, he remains focused on his mission to avenge Mickey's death. He walks down the road, driven by his determination to find and kill Annie. Despite the danger posed by the zombies trailing him, Ben is unstoppable, with a steely resolve to do whatever it takes to complete his mission.